I'm here at the trailhead for the Wind Cave, and it's just barely starting to light up. And I really contemplated whether or not to wear a coat today because it's actually really chilly. Shockingly chilly considering how warm it's been. And I'm not sure, it might be too dark. Yeah, I'll have to show you the sign on the way out. But this is the trail. Luckily I know it really well, so it doesn't really matter that it's dark. It's good. It's a really good trail for cool mornings, I think. And I'm excited to get up there. The sky is just starting to lighten up. And I've been hiking for probably about 10 minutes. And I'm glad I didn't wear a coat because this trail is quite steep. And within a few minutes, I'm always sweating, even on a cold morning like today. So I'm glad I didn't wear a coat because I just end up having to carry it. And I don't know how you can see along here. This is all elderberries. It looks like somebody's been snacking on them. And also some choke cherries along here too. So definitely some snacks along the way. We are headed way up there. And I just wanted to be quiet for a second because there's an owl that I can hear. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear it or not. What a beautiful morning. Could you hear it? I just wanted to stop and show you the view. We're headed up that way. And it's crisp and cool. And it's like the summer's almost over. And that right across there is Crimson Trail, right along that ledge there. The trail to the Wind Cave goes that way, and that's the way I'm going to be going today. But there is this other trail, and if you take it, it kind of loops around the mountain, goes up to the top, and then ends up down in another canyon. So it's a pretty serious hike, and you probably want to have a car parked in the other canyon unless you're incredibly hardcore. But I kind of like to go on that side canyon sometimes. Not that I go all the way over, but just to get away from the main trail. It's also the only other place in Logan, the only place in Logan that I've ever seen bluebirds. And they're so cute, the bluebirds. And I've also seen an eagle, lots of deer, and the biggest rattlesnake I've ever seen on that trail. So it's a little quieter. There aren't as many people who go on it, and you get some fantastic views. And we're gonna keep plugging along. One of the things about this trail to keep in mind is there are a lot of switchbacks, and just when you think you're at the top, there'll be another switchback. And so be prepared for that. I see sometimes families come up here with kids, and a lot of times they'll come in the middle of the day, and this is north facing, and the sun can be brutal, and they just look so bedraggled, and they just have these hopeful faces and say, "Are we almost there?" And usually I have to say, "Oh, you're about halfway." And sometimes they come in flip-flops, and they just really don't have a sense of this being a really strenuous hike, because it's kind of iconic, the iconic Logan Canyon hike. So people talk about it all the time, and I don't think they're always, if you hike all the time, this isn't bad. But if you never hike, I may not make it. Once you make it to this bend, then you're in the home stretch. Past the endless switchbacks, and pretty steady hike now to the Wind Cave. And that's the view we're gonna get. It's gonna be even better though once we get there. All right. made it. Doesn't look like much, does it? Just a little flat area. But an amazing lookout, huh? Wow. Look at that. Let me come to the edge here. Give you a look down. Whoa. All right. And he didn't really come to see this flat area. Let me take you around this way. I wonder how many people who know nothing about the Wind Cave get to the top of the trail and are like, huh, that's it? There's no cave, but yes there is. Let's make our way down there. And it's a little treacherous through here, mostly because of the gravel, but not too bad. Just have to find my footing, and there it is, Wind Cave. Pretty impressive. And presumably it was formed by wind, hence the term, unless it's just really windy, which is a possibility too. So I come over to this one, and it is pretty slippery, so you have to watch your footing through here. But there's this nice chamber here, good place to sit and take in the view. And let me come all the way down here. As you can see, I'm just kind of scooching along. Because it is a pretty significant drop-off. If you started just to slip, whoop, it would be a ways down. But there's that view. And then let me show you what it looks like from this side. Look at that. Oh, I love how the sun's kind of peeking through right up here. Just walk back up this way. It really is magnificent. Huh. Wow. Wind Cave. I'm feeling really grateful right now and emotional. I never thought I'd be back up here. And for those who don't know me, I had really debilitating arthritis. And it was to the point where I couldn't even walk around the block. I never thought I'd come back up here. I never thought I'd make it up here again. And thankfully, I found a doctor who was able to diagnose me and get me on some medication. And it has been a miracle in my life. I went from barely being able to walk to being able to come back up here again. And one of the reasons I'm making these videos is that I don't know if the medicine will stop working. I kind of want to document all this beauty, and also for those who are unable to get up here and hike, who for whatever reason can't make it up here, can't get out in the world. I just wanted to make videos to share this experience, also for people who might be visiting, so that they can see all the beauty of this wonderful canyon in Logan. So I'm incredibly grateful to the rheumatologist who finally diagnosed me and is treating me, for giving me this freedom to come up here again. I really didn't think I'd ever make it up here. I'm so grateful. Just gonna walk back up to the top, show you again the view. And I used to come up here every day when I was in graduate school and I was working on my dissertation. I used to come up here and to other places in the canyon, bring my books, some peaches, maybe an apple, my water bottle, and just spend the day studying up here. And so whenever I'm up here, it just reminds me of peaches and graduate school, which I loved. I'm a geek. This is a view of the wind cave from this little outcropping. And this is actually where I did the majority of my studying, is over here, because there were never any people over here. There were often large groups of people over at the wind cave, but the entire time I was up here, nobody ever came up here. So it's sort of my secret study area. And I was studying biological systems, and specifically things like slime molds and ant colonies and these, they call them superorganisms, and where each ant, each slime mold, each individual actually was more like a cell of a body. And I don't know if you can see my shadow. Where is it? There it is. Hey. And what I did was study how they shared resources. And I especially liked studying the mycorrhizal fungi and the way they created these webs of resource highways underground with their root systems, their hypha. It's pretty neat stuff. And this is the tree that I sat under, studying all that, working on my dissertation. And of course I never really, once I was done, I like the studying part, but I like the learning part. I never really used my degree much, but it was sure fun getting it. Down there you could see the switchbacks and the way down, along with the magnificent sun and the road. The sun is bright. Think about all the times I sat up here, the hours and hours, and it really feels like coming home, just sitting here, and again, just filled with gratitude that I was able to hike all the way up here. And I hope I'll make it down. It's always harder going down than it is coming up. Now that the sun is out, I just wanted to give you a view of the wind cave from down here. It's all the way up there. It doesn't look that big, but when you get in there, you realize it really is quite big. And look at how brilliant the sky is, that blue sky. The sun is shining, and I'm about 2/3 of the way down. My knees are a little wobbly, but so far, so good. Well, we made it to the bottom. And I just feel complete joy right now. It's amazing. Oh, let me just show you this. Here's the trailhead sign. It says here that it's 1.8 miles and not to cut the trail. And that's important because when you cut across the trail, it leads to erosion that can really destroy the trail. And there are a couple places that are a little treacherous because there's been trail erosion. And I wanted to show you this sign now that you'll be able to actually see it. The sun's out. So this is a map of the trail. And noisy truck. And just some information about the flora and fauna. According to my pedometer, it was a little over 4 miles, 4.33 miles. So a pretty good hike considering half of it's just really up. And I'm noticing, can you see that? My breath. So it really is gone down in temperature since the last couple days. It's the first day of September, and it's been an unbelievably hot summer. And then last night the temperatures dropped about 30 degrees. And on the hike up, I didn't need to wear my sweater because, you know, chugging along, and on the way down the sun came out, keeping me warm, but here I am in the shade, and clearly a nippy day. Let me see, where's the best view of it? So good hike. Definitely not for someone who's out of shape, but if you bring water, maybe bring a lunch, make a day of it, it's not bad. But just remember, it is north facing, and so on hot summer days it can be really brutal. However, it also means that in the winter, this is one of the few trails that is accessible, because the snow will melt along it, and even though it might be muddy, it's still a trail that you can hike oftentimes all throughout the winter, especially if you have crampons for your shoes to give you a little grip on the icy parts. So Wind Cave Trail, Wind Cave hike. Super happy to have made it, and I just want to give a shout out to my rheumatologist, Dr. Breview. I couldn't have done it without you, and boy do I appreciate your help. I'll see you on the trail.